the Alberta Liberal opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government has its priorities all mixed up. We face a moral crisis in child poverty and with thousands of Aboriginal children in government care. Yet these Conservatives are more concerned about padding their own RSPs, while Alberta Liberals want us to focus on values of equality of opportunity for less fortunate Albertans. The Finance Minister has no funding plan to deal with these 70,000 children in poverty other than to wish them good luck. To the Premier, will you do the right thing and institute a government-funded school lunch program so children living in poverty don't have to learn on an empty stomach?
The Honourable Minister of Human Services.
Mr. Speaker, we are looking through the social policy framework discussions and further into a program to reduce and eliminate poverty in this province at a higher level than simply a program-by-program basis. Yes, it's important that every child go to school having had something to eat and ready to learn. But solving child poverty is not just as simple as the honourable member would suggest.
No.
It's a lot more complex than that, and simple solutions will not solve the problem.
Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, basic nutritious food is one of the basic needs we as human beings need. And given that these children are our children, their future is our future, and their care is our shared responsibility. And given the overwhelming evidence that investment in early childhood leads to higher literacy, graduation, employment, and income rates, better health outcomes and less crime, and actually ends up saving the government money. To the Premier, will you keep your promise to Albertans by funding early childhood learning, full-day kindergarten, preschool and after-school care, especially in communities of high risk? Please, Premier, will you do the right thing?
Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, there is nothing that this honourable member has said that our government does not agree with, Mr. Speaker. That is one of the platforms that we ran on in the last provincial election. It's why we have introduced this terribly important work with respect to the social policy framework, and it's one of the reasons, Mr. Speaker, that we support organizations such as Women Building Futures, which I know another honourable member will be speaking to later. We have to ensure that families are strong, that parents are employed, that parents have skills so that they can participate in the economy. We have to make sure that our Department of Human Services is putting programs in place to support vulnerable children. And, Mr. Speaker, that is how we will ensure that every child is able to exceed to the best of their ability.
Mr. Speaker, Albertans don't need excuses, and they don't need to be wished good luck. They need real action. Given that Alberta's parents are working harder than ever to make ends meet, all they need is a hand up. Yet this government demands a hand out from them in the form of mandatory school fees. If they can't afford to pay, they send the collection agencies after them, and the kids can't even attend grad. Mr. Speaker, this is shameful in the wealthiest place on the planet. To the Premier, why do you insist on nickel and diming our families for school fees? Why can't you just bring in a progressive tax system?
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Mr. Speaker, our education system is the best funded in Canada. And we do have some school fees, and those are set locally by the local school boards in consultation with the parents. We had a long discussion about that in committee and in second reading with respect to what we're going to do in the Education Act and what the strategy is going forward. I don't recall the honourable member chiming in on that debate. It's nice to hear his feedback now, and maybe he can take part of the regulatory review on school fees that we've promised after the Education Act.
The Honourable Leader.